He'll kill. And kill again.
Okay, so let's talk about Longlegs and our thoughts and what do we think about this movie as a whole, right? So I've been seeing so much about Longlegs recently, and it is definitely one of the most divisive films I feel, and it's exactly what I thought. I knew that the marketing was doing a little bit too much in my opinion. We'll get to that in a bit. Before we do, make sure you subscribe, check out all our other videos on Longlegs. We've been talking about the website for a month now and deciphering all of that, which I think is something that the movie didn't really go into, so go check out those videos if you want, and subscribe to the channel. 35,000 subscribers is our goal. We're so close to that and really would love to get that before the end of the month. But let's get into Longlegs and my thoughts and my opinions. So Longlegs is directed by Osgood Perkins, and you have Maika Monroe, Blair Underwood, Alicia Witt, you have Michelle Cho-Lee, Dakota Dolby, Kiernan Shipka, and Nicolas Cage in this film. Now, Maika Monroe and Nicolas Cage, of course, are leading here with Blair Underwood as well, but everybody in this film did amazing. Kiernan Shipka had a small role but did so good, and also Alicia Witt, oh man, but we'll get to that later on. So this film basically follows Maika Monroe's character of Lee Harker, who is an FBI agent getting into the field for the first time, and she has this sort of insight and intuition that the agent Carter, who is played by Blair Underwood, likes and wants to use on the Longlegs case. Longlegs is this prolific serial killer who has been killing, but not really by their own hand. They just leave these notes after these murders that happen from the fathers of these families, and then the father pretty much takes himself out as well. And that's basically it. I don't want to give spoilers. I've already talked spoilers last night, so you check that out, and I'm gonna talk more spoilers tonight in another video. So let's talk about what I really loved about this film. First and foremost, Maika Monroe's performance here is great. I really do think Maika is a talent that needs more recognition. All her career, ever since I watched her for the first time, and It Follows, other films like Villains, and she continues to really showcase this range and ability she has, and here it is on full display. I think it really comes in full force in that third act, even though that third act I do have some problems with, which we'll talk about later. I think Nicolas Cage here is great as well. It is a very Lynchian feel that Nicolas Cage's Longlegs has. It's campy, it's unnerving, but it's eerie at the same time. There are some moments that are so odd, you want to chuckle, but at the same time, you're like, if I was in front of that right now, I don't know how it would feel like. It's unnerving, honestly, which the whole film is. The film gives us one of the best scares of the year in its first 5 minutes, which I just was sitting there. I was eating my pizza at the theater with my Coke Icy, and I had to pause for a moment because I just felt a chill and I was scared watching that, because there's a moment when Nicolas Cage's character pops up in the first 5 minutes, and it is just so damn good how it's framed and just everything about it. I will tell you also that I really dug the whole serial killer vibe of it all when it was trying to do a detective run of sorts and thrills. The film does dabble into horror as well, and I'll talk more about how I felt about those themes sort of clashing with one another a little bit later with my problems. Motion soundtrack here is incredible. The music is done by Zilgi, and it really is such a terrifying and dreadful film in the best way possible. Like, I'm serious. Like, it is just filled with so much dread from the beginning to the very end that you just feel sick about it. It is just so well done. I know that it was dubbed the scariest film of the decade and scariest film you'll ever see, things like that, and I think that's just a disservice to any movie to say that, because expectations do run high, and I'm seeing that now. And so when you don't get that, it really is a bummer, I know. So I definitely will not tell you this film is scary. I don't think it's really like, oh my goodness, so scary and all of that and jumping, you know. It is a film though that you think about, and it really is just about evil in our world, and it does take a little bit of fantastical elements here and there, but it does still feel a bit grounded and like this could actually be a thing. So overall, like I said, I think Maika Monroe, Nicolas Cage, everybody involved, Blair Underwood here do amazing performances. Alicia Witt and Kiernan Shipka deliver some very amazing monologues as well throughout, and I was very impressed by both of them. I wasn't sure how long they would be in the film, but I think it was just a great presence they had that they didn't need much to really drive home this movie. I also really love the cinematography in this film. It is gorgeously shot, framing and everything that Osgood has here. Perspectives are a big thing, I think, when it comes to horror film, and Osgood really experiments with different perspectives here and there, and it really amplifies the scare a bit more. And I love this interview where he talks about almost being like a magician of sorts, where you choose what the audience sees and doesn't see, and that actually amplifies how the end result will be. So overall, I really love this film when it comes to the acting, when it comes to the directing and all of that. The music is amazing, the score is just incredible, and I think that this film is filled with so much haunting imagery that it will leave you thinking about it for days. Now, my problems with the film in itself are when it comes to its story and the way that the narrative is structured. I think the first 2/3 of this film feel like a completely different film, and the last third feels like something else. And it's not saying that either or are bad. It's just saying that they kind of clashed with one another when this happened. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh man, like I really love that first 2/3, and I really love that third. But as a whole, it just didn't really work with me. I felt like it didn't feel cohesive. And I think that the film just sort of got too drunk on its own supply as well when trying to do certain things. Because I still think that the imagery and everything kept up, but then it leaves us with a exposition dump, which I always hate these like recaps or going back to it in films. It might work for some people, but for me, it kind of takes me out a bit. Like I'm just like reading something, explaining it, you know? And it really was a thing that I think could have been interweaving throughout the film better. Like I don't need this big twist per se to happen, but I do think that it's important to have that if you need it, but to really weave it out better than to just make a big like halt to the film, which is what that third act felt like. And that was my biggest problem with Longlegs. I don't think that the movie had any other problems besides that narrative and that story, especially in that third act, which kind of felt a bit rushed. I would have loved if the movie went on for another 20 minutes, honestly, because I was invested into it. So I don't think they had to rush anything here. And I do feel like there was more to this movie as well, because there's some actors that are credited that I didn't remember seeing. But I'll talk about that in my spoiler video tonight, so stay tuned for that. So hit that subscribe button. But overall, I think that this film is hindered by its own marketing, which actually helped it in the short run. But in the long run, I feel it's going to hinder it because people are expecting something intense, something scary. And albeit it is that in its own right, because I think the film feels fresh and innovative for the horror genre and doing something different, I don't think it is as scary as many people were thinking it was going to be because of the marketing. So I think that is a problem in itself right there of how the movie was marketed, because the movie was done before Neon ever acquired it. So I don't think it was Osgood and Maika and Nicolas Cage's way of wanting to do it, I feel, but who knows. But overall, I do really love this film. It has strong acting performances. It has very innovative and fresh ideas when it comes to horror. The framing, the directing, the perspectives that Osgood Perkins chooses for this, also top notch. The music and the score are just so haunting and just some of the best images and audio mixed together I've seen all year. First, let me tell you too, that scare at the beginning, the best scare all year so far. We'll see what can top it. But overall, I do love Longlegs. I'm excited. I will watch it again because there's some things I want to pick up on the second watch, especially after reading through the Birthday Murders website. Check out our videos on that. But I will watch it again and maybe, I don't know, we'll go up or down on here. But right now, I am feeling a solid 4.5 right now. Close to being a perfect film for me, except for that exposition dump and that rushed third act. Overall though, really recommend it if you're looking for a good thriller. It's not the scariest film. Don't let them deceive you. Just go into this knowing it's a good thriller. But let me know what you think. Follow for more on things you love. Let's get to 35,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell. Follow us wherever you want. Our website is www.culturelixir.com, as well as our Twitter and our TikTok @culturelixir. But as always, I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.